Welcome to Organizations in Motion, the podcast where we explore how organizations navigate complexity, strengthen resilience, and build cultures where people can truly thrive. I'm Dr. Inga James, social worker and organizational psychologist, and founder of Organizational Renewal Group. Today's episode is the first in a new series on organizational transformation and renewal, what it really takes to guide an organization through meaningful, lasting change. We often talk about transformation as if it simply requires a new plan or a shift in structure. But true renewal is something deeper. It's a rewiring of culture, identity, relationships, and habits. A process that asks organizations to let go of what no longer serves them and make space for what's next. Today, we'll break down the anatomy of organizational renewal, what it actually means, why organizations struggle with it, and what research tells us about the forces that drive it. And last, what leaders can do to support it. Let's begin with a simple distinction. Organizational renewal is not the same as organizational change. Change can be superficial. It can be cosmetic. It can be a new policy, a new leader, or a new workflow. But renewal is transformative. It reshapes how people understand their work, how they relate to one another, and how the organization sees its role in the broader world. There are four essential dimensions of renewal. Number one, the people, including the emotional and psychological impacts of renewal. Number two, the culture. That's including the deeply embedded norms, assumptions, and behaviors. Number three, the processes, structures, and decision-making pathways that shape daily life. And number four, leadership, or the consistency, transparency, and courage shown by those at the helm. True renewal touches all four. It requires emotional labor, honest dialogue, and a willingness to confront patterns that are comfortable but no longer effective. It requires leaders to listen deeply, communicate clearly, and stay steady, even when the process feels slow or uncertain. Research across organizational psychology, change management, and systems theory reinforces several important truths about renewal. First, people don't resist change. They resist ambiguity, loss of control, and threats to identity. William Bridges' transition model highlights that organizational change works only when leaders attend to the human transition that accompanies it. Secondly, culture is a powerful anchor, both stabilizing and restrictive. Edgar Schein's cultural model shows that the deeper the assumption, the harder it is to change. Organizations often cling to old norms because they symbolize predictability. Renewal requires alignment between individual purpose and organizational purpose. Renewal succeeds when staff feel seen, heard, and valued, not managed through compliance. And research consistently shows that organizations that engage in intentional renewal outperform those that rely on surface level change only. A long-term study published in Harvard Business Review found that organizations that actively align culture, leadership behavior, and systems during periods of change are 3 times more likely to sustain performance improvements over 5 years than those that focus only on strategy or structure. Similarly, a meta-analysis of organizational development interventions found that renewal efforts that combine employee engagement, leadership alignment, and cultural clarity lead to measurable improvements in employee commitment, operational effectiveness, and organizational resilience during disruption. Perhaps most importantly, research shows that renewal reduces hidden costs. Organizations that invest in renewal experience lower voluntary turnover, reduced burnout, and faster recovery from crisis because people understand the why behind the work and trust leadership to guide the process. In short, renewal is not just good for morale, it's a measurable driver of organizational performance and sustainability. In short, renewal is both science and art, requiring structure, empathy, and an understanding of human behavior. Let's look at a company that didn't heed the renewal call. For much of the 20th century, Kodak was synonymous with photography. The company's film dominated the global market, and a Kodak moment became a part of everyday language. What many people don't know is that Kodak actually invented the first digital camera in 1975, long before digital photography became mainstream. But instead of embracing this breakthrough, Kodak treated it as a threat. Leadership feared that digital photography would erode the company's lucrative film business. Rather than renewing the organization's identity and strategic direction, Kodak doubled down on the past. They protected what had always worked rather than preparing for what was coming. As digital photography expanded, Kodak made several critical missteps. They underestimated the speed of technological change. They viewed digital as an accessory to film rather than its replacement. And they failed to realign their culture, which was deeply anchored in chemical processing and film manufacturing. By the time Kodak tried to pivot, it was too late. Newer companies, unburdened by legacy business models or cultural attachment, took the lead. Kodak eventually filed for bankruptcy in 2012. The lesson from Kodak's story is powerful. When an organization avoids renewal because it threatens the familiar, it forfeits its future. Renewal demands courage to see clearly, adapt early, and reimagine who you are before the world forces your hand. If you're a leader preparing for or already navigating renewal, here are some practical steps. 5 practices make an enormous difference. First, start with an honest assessment of the organization as people actually experience it. Second, communicate early and transparently. Uncertainty grows in silence. Third, align your leadership team around a shared direction before asking others to participate. Fourth, make sure your systems reinforce the behaviors you want to see. And finally, create a culture of learning where reflection, experimentation, and progress are valued more than perfection. Thank you for joining me today for this dive into the anatomy of organizational renewal. Renewal is not easy work, but it is profoundly meaningful. And when done with intention, it strengthens both the organization and the people within it. In our next episode, we'll explore how data and vision come together to create positive organizational strategy and outcomes. I'm thrilled to announce that I will be joined by a guest, Sarah Oriana from 3 Raptor Consulting. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe, share the episode, or connect with me on LinkedIn or here at YouTube. Your support keeps this community growing.